So what you're seeing in front of you, if you are, I don't know if you are using Dynamics daily, but the marketing module for Microsoft, which is now also, it's going to add a bit to the confusion because actually it's now called Customer Insights Journeys. So Microsoft renamed this beginning of October, and you now have, if you are going to be looking for any other videos or demos or any learning material about Dynamics marketing, you need to be looking for Customer Insights Journeys. Okay, so Microsoft added it to a new SKU, which is good news because it does mean that something that a lot of organizations do when it comes to Microsoft's marketing modules is they usually will get this insights journeys part first, which is marketing. Let's send emails to people. Let's put them in journeys. And then that will usually be followed by customer insights, which has always been called customer insights, but is now called customer insights data. And what that helps you do is it actually creates a profile for each of the people that you're marketing to. So it tries to give you that 360-degree profile and allows you to plug into different systems like a telephony system, maybe an app that you're using, different things that will help you get a better picture. We do have some customers that do that, but to be honest, with a lot of the changes made to the Dynamics marketing or customer insights module, there is a lot that you're getting already that helps you to build up that profile. So I think there's a lot of features that I'll take you through today that will be pretty useful for you. So what I like to focus on when we do these demos is usually just go through some of the main questions that we get from marketeers. And so you can actually see if you are using other systems at the moment or you are running certain campaigns, what would that look like within the customer insights journeys module? And one of the first things that I usually get or that usually people touch on is just how will I see what I'm busy doing? So you might have different campaigns that you are running at the moment. Those will have different elements, like there might be email, there might be SMS, you might be breaking people down into different segments. You might be giving tasks to different team members. And you might also be using certain tools like Google Analytics to show you what are the results of all of my marketing efforts. And that would be showing you at a very high level and enabling you to drill down. So when it comes to customer insights journeys, you also get insights, so things that you can track. And what Microsoft changed recently, actually the beginning of October, but something that they've been developing over the last 2 to 3 years is you can see this trial that I spun up here is only actually giving me real-time journeys. So people who launched before October with their marketing module still have outbound features, and that's what Microsoft called their normal. If you think of a MailChimp, sending emails via MailChimp, that's what they call their features that are not focused on real time. So the benefit is if you launch with Dynamics Marketing now, what you get is the system is continuously mining. So if you have certain journeys, if you have certain segments where you said, I want everybody that clicks this button to be added onto this, or you sent emails recently, it's not just looking for people's behavior at certain points during the day and refreshing it, but those insights are continuously refreshing to help make sure that if you are pulling a segment on people who yesterday opened my email or 2 months ago clicked on a link, any segment that you're pulling is giving you the most real-time information that you can get at that point in time. And then it can keep mining that data and keep refreshing it for you. So with customer insights journeys, you do get, as you would with Dynamics, you are going to get some dashboards and some insights out of the box that you will be shown. So if I go to analytics, you're going to see that you will get, this is a demo environment, so we don't actually have live campaigns that we are running or anything, but it will give you a bit of an idea of what you would actually be able to see. And what Microsoft focuses on heavily with customer insights is you will get a lot of journey data. So when it comes to customer insights, what I usually say to clients is think about journeys, because that's Microsoft's word for it, as things that you probably run as campaigns at the moment. Because this is things where you group together marketing activities like I'm sending an email, if people open I'll send them an SMS with confirmation details. If they don't open, target them with the same email again in 2 weeks. It's going to show all of those journey details for you here in your journey analytics. Okay, and you can also see it's trying to become a bit smart, even though it doesn't have details in at the moment. It's doing things like, why do we think people left your journey? And which journeys are the most successful? So it's using all of the data that you input, the journeys that you create, and then it's combining that with people's behaviors, which is the real-time insights. What do people do when they get this? What do they respond to? And it's trying to guide you on what decisions you should make. And that is a very big part of where Dynamics Customer Insights is going, is it's trying to add a lot of AI on top of the features to mine the behaviors and mine data and look at what was your successful journeys versus ones that didn't perform well, and can I guide this user on why that is? And obviously, the more you use it, the more data you put in, the better those results are going to get. Okay, so you get your journey analytics, and then you also get channel analytics. And these are the different channels that you get within Customer Insights. The ones that you're probably very used to is you get email, right? So I can drill down in terms of how do people actually do with the emails that I sent out. And then you also get push notifications. So if you want to use that, if that is a channel that you want to explore, it is at the moment ingrained into the Customer Insights module. So you can use that in journeys. You can run separate campaigns on it. It's all available for you. You just have to set up the base and then you can run with it. And that's the same with text messages. So what's quite nice is that you will continuously get insights on all of these channels, but it also means that you can use these channels in all of the features that are available in marketing, okay? And it's constantly being mined, meaning I can say everybody who favors text messages above email, put them into a segment for me and let me send them a text message. You can leave some decisions to the system because you know that it's constantly mining behavior for you, okay? And that's what makes the segment so strong. Okay, but to get back to that first question that I had, how do we see information within Customer Insights? You will get journey analytics and you will get channel analytics. Also, as this is Dynamics, at its base, everything that you have in the system can be turned into a dashboard, and you can tweak those dashboards, charts, and views, and you can build your own as well. So that is something that can easily, for a marketing team, be added onto their sitemap, and then that dashboard can be built out. You also do get some out-of-the-box marketing ones that just with the sales enterprise system, which you have already, is provided for you as well. So all of that can be put into this. That's already in the base for you to be playing around with. Okay. The other thing that you might want to know is how will you actually plan? So if you have Dynamics marketing, based on what systems you use now, some marketing systems do come with the ability to do things like allocate certain tasks to people, or in the traditional terms, create campaigns to group all of the activities under those campaigns, because ultimately in the system, you want to choose a date, like say last year, Jan, I know we had our annual conference and I want to see what was the results, what channels did we use, what collateral did we use, and I might even want to reuse some of that, okay? So what you have within Dynamics Marketing, because again, it's Dynamics, is you do have campaign functionality if you are going to want to use that umbrella approach. So if you want to be able to see, this is what we did, all of it was linked to this one thing, or you can use the journeys. And what we usually do is during training, we'll give you both and we'll tell you the difference between it, because both of them are native to Dynamics Marketing. But then what you also have is you have standard with Dynamics, you have activities, right? So if you want to plan something, and if I use that example again, we want to plan for the annual conference 2024, then I might actually go and I might go and create tasks for my team members. So this gives you a little bit of planner functionality, and I could add certain tasks here, like create email template, give a description, so it depends on how you're working, and then I can allocate this to a certain team member, Okay. And once I've done that, so I could allocate it here, change the owner of this task, or I could go and assign this task here. Um, Once I've done that, that user who it was assigned to can then go and mark it as complete. And it's just a way for you to stay on top of all of the tasks. And you can even put a calendar control on this. Again, it's native out of the box. So I can see in a calendar view for this month, what tasks do I have? Which ones have I allocated to my team and what's the status of them? And then link it all back to how are we doing? What do I need to focus on next? Okay. So you get these things, but the great thing is that everything I see in the front with Dynamics, I can manipulate. So if I'm seeing these columns here regarding priority start date, I might say, actually, I'm always going to want to link each of these to either a journey or campaign. I'll create that field, add that column in, and that column is not available now, but I'm just going to add something in to show you how easy that would be. Add my columns in, close that, apply that, and I'm changing the filter that I'm seeing on all the data, because there could be hundreds or thousands of tasks within your system. Okay. And you can save these and share with your team if you want to. The good thing is you're not reliant always on devs to change something for you. If you want to change a view, if you want to change the bulk data that you're taking out of the system, you have control over that. And it just changes for you until you share it. So you're not actually making a real system change. You can share this with people and it stays a personal view that you shared. Okay. So that's one of the ways that you would actually be planning within Dynamics. And the other thing that you would be doing that I'll show you later on is you will be using journeys and grouping a lot of activities in those journeys. The other question, however, that you might be wondering is just how will I get my data? So external data, I can see my channels, I can see my campaigns, I can allocate tasks, but how might I see things that are not happening within Dynamics? Okay. And examples of those are like your website. So you will have people who you have within Dynamics or who are leads that you are sending emails to from within the system. You want to see, was that effective? What was their behavior? And with Dynamics Customer Insights, you do get a settings area where there's a lot of additional functionality. We usually will have a little bit of a plan and a setup guide for people that will take everyone through to get the setup. But what you can do is you register your domains with Dynamics Marketing, and then you will also get tracking script. And that's very similar to if you're using Google Analytics at the moment. You will place that on the back end of your website. And then when I go into my domains, I will be able to see how many people visited, how many of the contacts within my customer insights journey actually are engaged with my last email that had a link to a landing page. And because I'm capturing that information, again, I can go and I can group those people then and target them specifically based on the action they just took. So it's great to use these, always link up what you can, because it makes your segments and the data that you're mining a lot stronger. The other thing that is quite useful that clients love about Dynamics Customer Insights is if I go back to my real-time journeys, the other thing that you can use is your forms. So in addition to having that tracking script to register my domains and have my website information feed into Dynamics, I can also create marketing forms, which I can easily either just drop, so I can embed it on my website, or I can actually take, if you don't want to do that, you can take your existing forms and you can just match them. So what you do is you get each field that I might have onto a form, it's all drag and drop, has a specific name and it has a mapping behind it. So I can go and I can add this into the HTML on my forms on my website. And Dynamics Marketing actually makes this process really easy because it has a guide when you do this that kind of, it searches for that form that you want to track. It tries to connect the two for you. So it does remove some of the scripting or coding knowledge that you'll need in a team. It does make it a lot easier. So you can capture forms, and through that you can have people submit their information. So if I wanted address, I might have wanted first name, Okay, and it's all, again, it's configurable. So everything you see here, Microsoft gives you because it knows this is what marketeers use the most, but it will also allow you to create your own. Like if you want to have your own fields called dietary requirements or product most interested in, and you can map those and use them as well. So all of this, like with email, like with most of the functionality in customer insights journeys, is drag and drop. Okay, so it is quite user friendly. And the great thing that I personally love about the forms is the fact that when you embed it, you don't have the need to actually change anything on this form. So what we found with a lot of marketeers is when you have this embed functionality, which is ideal because it means you don't have to go and, match form fields or a tracking script. It's much easier to embed a form. But what would hold them back is the fact that if I go and embed this form, like if I preview it at this moment, that is not very pretty for me to go and drag and drop onto my website or landing page. So what Microsoft did that's really useful is if I go and I try and embed this, so I'll say publish and then I get embed code, then it will actually try and match the CSS on my website. So it will look at what colors did you use, what kind of edges did you use, what font did you use, and it will try and create this form for you based on that look and feel. So it takes away that need for you to pay a designer. And it means that mostly your team they can use drag and drop, they can just get the embed, drop it onto your website, and you have that form that will then speak into Dynamics for you. So it's a very easy way to get information into Dynamics. We have clients that do very clever things with it, like at conferences, they will have specific forms they created and have it on an iPad at a stand. People will come, fill in their details, say this is what I want to speak about, submit it, and it's automatically a lead in the system. It's in CRM. There's not a massive sheet that you need to capture as soon as that conference is done. So this is available for you. And once you understand it, once you understand how this maps to your contact forms and that automatically, there is a lot more use for it than just a form on a landing page or a website. But it does make that process of getting external information like your leads, contact updates, like updating a job title or their contact preferences, much easier. And it takes a lot of the manual work out for you. Okay. So that's one of the other ways. The other thing that you can do with Dynamics Marketing is you do have survey functionality. Okay, so just like it's very similar to this form that I actually created, but you can also create surveys within Dynamics Marketing. And you actually have a choice with that because you also get something called customer voice. Now, to be honest, if you ever want to look at those two things, so you get survey functionality included, you get customer voice included, which is also a survey tool. I would suggest that we do another demo just because it really goes in depth in terms of the functionality. But the great thing is that those two tools are both included with the marketing, and it's also very closely linked. So if I have certain things, like if I'm doing segments, I can draw segments on survey results. So I could say anybody that submitted a survey with an NPS score that's under 3, I can do that. There's already things out of the box for me. I don't have to necessarily build those because the tool is part of the Microsoft Customer Insights Journeys ecosystem. So it brings those features a lot closer together. And that actually comes to the next thing that I wanted to talk about, which is your segments. Okay, so you'll hear me constantly saying whatever you're doing in terms of data, whether it is you having clients fill out a form or having sent out an email or had a survey that's running, the system is mining it all and you can reuse it. And that's where Dynamics Marketing or Customer Insights is very strong, is the fact that it will continuously be updating your segments. So the way you can think about segments in Dynamics Marketing is the fact that it's a list. So it's a marketing list that I'm putting together, but it is just giving me a lot of additional functionality in terms of behavior, the information that I'm capturing on my contact, lead, and account forms, and also something that's very useful, any custom tables. And when I say that, tables, it could be like, here you have a contact form, right? So I'm capturing all my contact information, like first name, last name on Yolandi, and I can view her as a contact. But you might also have something, you might have something that you create like a policy table, and that holds all the different policy information, because I could have many different policies. And the great thing is with the segment builder, I can then enable that policy table for segmentation. Okay, so I'll show you what it looks like now. So if I say here, test segment 1, the other thing that is quite handy, that again, it improves the more you use it, is I could tell the query assist. So this is some of the AI functionality. I could tell it, you know, help me build a segment with active contacts. So I could say, I want all my active contacts that are under 32, something like that. Okay, and then it's going to give me some suggestions, like to get close to what I'm saying. If I don't choose one of these, it's going to try and still build it for me closest to what it can possibly get to me. But I could say like contacts who prefer Monday meetings. Let's do that one. Okay, so it's trying to speed up everything that marketeers are doing per day by using the query assist, which is Copilot. And helping you by doing certain things for you. So here I'm getting preferred days Monday. I'm saying use that segment, and it built that for me. And how it would know what the preferred meeting day is, you might be wondering, is because on every contact and lead record that I have, if I'm setting up a meeting or an appointment from Dynamics, it's capturing that, right? So it's on that timeline for that contact or lead. It sees, oh, well, actually, Yolandi always has meetings on Wednesday and she accepts it. She never accepts it on a Friday. So that's part of the real-time insights and journeys, is that it's looking at every single behavior that I have within the system so that you can use it to segment and personalize. Okay. So this is your segment builder, which is a fancy name for your marketing list builder. And anything that I have within the system, everything I have on my contact records, my lead records, as I said, any custom tables I can use within these queries that I'm building. I can also exclude if I want to. So I could say I want everybody whose preferred day is a Monday, but then actually I want to exclude a certain behavior from a contact, like everybody who doesn't prefer SMS communication because I'm actually sending an SMS. And you can then also combine different segments. So if I, a few weeks ago, created a segment where I said, everybody that attended the annual conference, maybe now I want to include that segment with the segment that I'm building. So that's where it becomes quite powerful, because as you start using this tool for a while, you will have segments that might be 4 years old, that have been mining constantly, and you will be able to reuse those and combine them. So you're just building stronger segments the whole time because it's constantly mining what those people are doing. Okay. The other thing that you will have with this is you can estimate. So if I said, I'm going to get rid of that one. I want everybody whose preferred meeting day is Monday. I don't think there's nothing happening in the system, so we should not be able to really get a segment, but you can always estimate to see how many members am I getting, because most likely if you are pulling a segment, you'll have an idea in your mind of how many people it should be getting, right? And you can then view that. So you could view that to see what is the estimate that you're giving me. Does this feel accurate? Do I need to go and rebuild? And when you get a valid estimate, it will also give you a little sample. You can see here, view sample of included members, so that I can then see, oh, okay, this is what that profile actually looks like that I'm trying to pull and market to. Okay, so that's one thing that you have to target people. The other thing that you will have that is becoming more and more used these days is your compliance center. Okay, so this sits on top of that compliance, which means if you do roll something out like Dynamics marketing, you might already have that info for people. So you might already have a subscription or compliance center where you know these are the people who opted in. We have a list of people who opted out, and we keep updating it. So when it comes to Dynamics marketing, you can either use that list or link if it's a center that you have at the moment. You are not forced to use Microsoft's Compliance Center. However, you are forced to use a compliance center. So if you can see, here's a consent center here. And it does guide you. So that's something that usually it takes a bit of time in the beginning to set up, but you need to give people the option to opt in to your communication if you want to use the consent center. And then you can go stricter. So I could either just have an opt-in yes or no, which I usually, unless if you have very strict processes already, I recommend for people to kick off with is just have a simple yes or no. It does give you that form anyways, that yes, I want to opt in or not. You have that form, you can add it onto all your emails. But then you can go stricter by saying, I want to start working with levels. So if my contact opted into my email, my phone, each kind of channel that I have, there will be a 4, meaning I can always market to them. If there are 2, which means they've only opted into email, I have to restrict them for phone if a phone message is going out. So it does give you the flexibility to be really advance and really drill down. But I always say, you need to think about why you are doing that. So if there's a good reason, it's great, can use it. If not, the normal opt-in form of yes, I consent, or no, I want to opt out of all, works just as well in the beginning until you can refine those. So that's available for you. And every email that I send out has to have a link to my compliance center to show that I am actually compliant. A lot of this that I'm talking about when it comes to compliance and all of that, these are all available in my settings area. So it's available for you to play around with, but also whoever sets this up with you will take you through those. And there are certain tick boxes that we go through to say, yes, we've set all of this up so that you don't, I think one of the things you want to guard against is when you kick off with marketing, you don't want to constantly have something stop you. Like if you're ready to send out an email and it's telling you, oh, you didn't set up your compliance center the right way, it's not verified, you can't send the email, or your address, your main address was not added to your consent center. So all of these things is just a little to-do list. And when you get started with Dynamics marketing, you tick through it and then you're free to use the features and you're free to play around and it's all working for you. Okay, so that is I'm hoping answering the question of how will I get data into the system and how will I target people. And your targeting in real-time marketing is how I would group people. It's your segments. But then the other thing that you get that is also quite powerful is you get triggers. Okay. And this is basically Microsoft took their outbound marketing where people were building a lot of journeys, and journeys, which I'll show you now, is you have how do people enter is your first thing that you do. So how do I get people in here? Either they've been added to a marketing list or it's because they submitted a form. And they started to see what do marketeers use again and again, and what could be a simple trigger. What can we turn into a trigger? That means as soon as this happens, there will be an action that follows it. And what's great about this is Microsoft created a lot of out-of-the-box triggers already for you. Okay, so you can just come in here, like text message bounce, text message delivered, opportunity created. You can come in and you can already just add these onto a journey for yourself and say, every time an opportunity is created, email the marketing manager, or if it's created and it's above a certain value or coming from a marketing source lead, alert the marketing manager. So it's giving you a lot of these already out of the box, which makes that journey a lot quicker because the entry point's a lot quicker and it's always live. And you can also create custom ones. Okay, so you might think of certain things like, this is a random example, abandoned cart, somebody abandoned the cart. So I want to create a new trigger for that. And it tries and guides you. So if I do this, test 2, it's going to ask you, what are you trying to turn into a trigger? So is it when a record is updated? Like I had a client tell me this morning, every time we have a client whose account number, unique number, starts with a certain letter, then we want to add them to a journey because it means they're a certain kind of client. So we use the trigger for that because that's a very clear way to use the triggers for. Or it could be when a customer interacts with a website or an app. So we had a client, and that's what came to my mind, who said, if a cart's abandoned, I immediately want somebody added onto a journey. So that was a trigger for us, okay? So that means you get the triggers that Microsoft gives you, And the great thing is they keep updating because they keep looking at what are marketeers creating, what are they requesting. So you get the updated triggers that get added because those get rolled out with the updates. But then if you have something very unique, which you probably will because you have a unique focus and an industry focus, you can also come and create those triggers in here. And it tries and guides you the whole time as you are creating that, which is now almost just normal with Dynamics marketing, and with the Copilot added on, is there's a lot of guidance in it for you as well. Okay, so with how you're going to target people, things you might be thinking of today as marketing lists, when it comes to Dynamics marketing or customer insights journeys, you will have segments and you will have triggers that you can create to get people either onto lists, group them, or just automatically have a journey kick off with them. Okay. Any questions? Okay, all good. Okay, so you can also see that I did touch on the channels that you get, and you know by now you have push notifications, you have text messages, you will have your emails, you can connect your website, you can do surveys, but you also might have a need for a custom channel, and you do have that available. So if you had something like a portal maybe that you wanted to connect, or like some people have delivery kiosk, any unique channel that you might be using, this means that the system does cater for that. So I can add a unique channel in as well. And the good thing about this, what I like is previously when you did this, I then had to go and customize certain things so that I can add my unique channel into email. So link those up or add it into a customer journey, where now you already have tiles pre-configured for you for custom channels. So it does make it a bit easier. Anything that you add onto the system that's not out of the box, to work that into the features that you are going to be using for marketing. Okay, so that's an important one to keep in mind. When it comes to how you are going to be communicating, as I've been touching on for a bit now, so I said you will have SMS, okay? So you will have SMS communication or text messages. And again, very easy to create. So if I go to my text message, it's giving me a little preview here. I can choose the sender. So who am I sending this from, which you will set up. I can choose my message. What compliance profile am I using? So am I very strict? Do I have certain things that I set up just for SMS that need to be used, or is it my default? Okay, so default is by default set, but if you change that, it won't be. And then what is the purpose for sending this out? So this is quite nice because this is available, this purpose is available for you to use with your SMS push notifications and with your emails, meaning if you had something that was transactional, like your bill is due in 2 months or your financial advisor has been trying to reach you, you can send that out without somebody having opted in. But it's up to you. You have to say then this is transactional communication, right? So it's to do with the business, and this is a client, and we can send that out. Okay. But again, what you're seeing here, most of it is it's drag and drop, it's previewed for you so you can see what's it going to look like before it comes out. And I can also ask the system to do some checks for me. So validate that this is viable. And in this case, it's obviously not, even if I say send, it's not going to send because I don't have sender set up and I've not set up with an actual service. But what it will do then is it will, if you had said, for example, click here and there's no link, it might flag that for you to say, you know, there's an error in the text message. I like to say to people, always have an internal test list, which now it used to be just have an email test list, but now it would also be have a test list for push notifications, have a test list of your, you know, your marketing team for SMS messages. So while you're getting used to the system, you can actually really send it, not just view the, you know, this is a preview, but do an actual send and get used to how things are going to look on the other side when you are changing things here. Okay. So this is your text messages. It's the same for push notifications. Okay, so you can set those up as well after you have actually connected an application that you want to use. And again, it's telling you this is what it will look like. So it's very similar to your text messages. Okay, then you have your emails. I'm going to just go out there, and the email editor is very much drag and drop. but Microsoft again also gives you some templates. So you can import templates if you are working on another system at the moment that you will want to be bringing over. You can import those. Um, you get templates that you could be using and customizing, and you also have some controls. So you'll see that you can lock down certain things if branding is a worry for you. So if you, for example, want to lock down the footer of emails and say no one can change this, you can do that, and you can apply security rules. So I could say only Joseph can change email footers. He's the designer. He's the one that has control over that. So that is possible. And then everything else that you see is basically, again, it's drag and drop. So I can drag and drop content. I don't know if you are still designing emails if you use HTML. So a few years ago, like 2 to 3 years ago, we had a lot of clients that were reliant on HTML emails, but I have to say most of them have slowly come over to drag and drop because it has improved a lot as customer insights evolved. And if there is something specific that you want to put into a content block, like it might be like an ROI calculator or something clever that people can work with, you can put a code block in. So I can put the code that I want into this code block, and then it's still adhering to the other parameters. So I just find that it usually makes responsiveness and the different web browsers and devices, Microsoft has to worry about that because you're working within their templates, and that's something that they're working on all the time. But if HTML is a need, it's still completely possible. You can still code your emails if you want to, and you would get the same functionality. So you can still preview it, you can still test it, and you can also look at the different devices, okay? And that will give you an idea, which is nice to play around with. But again, in the beginning, I always urge everybody, do an actual send, get used to what this is going to look like, and use your personal emails and that just to get used to the system. Okay, I can check the content, and it's going to say to me what's missing. Like here, it's saying to me, the content part is missing. If I try again, it's probably going to tell me you haven't set up an address, because I have to have an address here and I have to have my compliance center ready to send this out. Okay, but it just gives you a bit of added peace of mind that the system will do some checks for you, and then the other ones are up to you. Okay. Now, with all of these communication channels that we have, like our push notifications, SMS, email, where it all comes together with our segments and our triggers is here. So if I go to my engagement, I can see here, let me discard that I have my journeys, okay? And I can create a new journey. Come on. Okay, and again, it's going to try, and you can see again, it's trying to guide me. Is it a trigger that you're using? Is it a segment that you're using? So you'll remember those triggers were the ones that Microsoft, I showed you, there's quite a few out of the box, like customer voice survey submitted, or contact updated, or is it a segment? So I might have decided, this is our annual conference 2024 that I'm starting to market for. And I actually went and I built a segment where I took people who attended the previous conferences and hot leads that we are targeting. So I can decide who do I want to be in this journey. Okay, I'll give it a name. If I said, for example, it's a trigger, I'm going to say if a contact's created. So sales go, they create a contact, which means they've signed up to us. They're going to be doing business with us, like they've bought a certain investment or policy. And we then need to onboard them. So when a contact is created, I'm going to do an onboarding journey for them. So let's say onboarding. Okay. I then go and create that journey, and then it's all again drag and drop and click, right? So I can see my first step is a contact's created. That's how they will come onto this journey. And then it's asking me, what do you want to do after this? So somebody gets created, and most likely I might want to send them an email saying, welcome to Mount Street, right? So I would have created that email in my email editor. I look up to it here and I select it. For some reason, my last pass is in this block right now. I'll select it and it will go into that tile there. Okay, and it's showing me it's an email that you selected. The other thing that I can then do is I could say, well, after I've sent this email, so to actually say to them, you know, welcome, here's your welcome pack, this is how we work, this is who will be your account manager. Sorry. Then I might actually put a wait timer in. So I could say wait for a week then before you go to the next action. And I can do an if branch. So I'm going to say wait. I'm going to tell it to wait a set amount of time. And let's say we're waiting 1 week after we sent that email. Then after that, I'm going to tell it if people opened my previous email. So I can say to it, just give me a moment to get this. Okay, so if people open my email, you decide who you actually, oh, I'm telling the system, you decide what you're going to send to them. So I can go and I could say, after I've created the onboarding email, they've responded to it, they're onboarded now. Now we actually want to invite them to a customer event, but I want to use the channel that they're most responsive to. So I might go put that invite in an email, a text message, and a push notification, but I'm telling the system, choose the best channel based on each contact that gets created in the system. You go and see what do they respond to best and send them that invite via their channel that they prefer. Okay, and with journeys, I can honestly keep going and keep going and keep going. So it depends on what kind of journey you're running and what the end goal is. So this is an if branch. If I'm saying, okay, I've sent them the invite, maybe if they registered yes, do this. If they didn't register for that customer day, then, you know, maybe I send them the invite again via their preferred channel in 2 weeks. Or maybe, you know, I'm going to just choose a channel that I think they would better react to. So this journey can go from the start, from that it gets created, all the way down. And then again, this means that whatever happened in this journey, so people who opened their emails, who responded to my event invite, and who actually pitched up on the day, I can again go and create new segments saying everybody who clicked on my email and also pitched on the day, put them into a segment, or find me similar people that have similar profiles. Okay, so that's how you can start playing around with these. So those are your journeys. Once your journey is live, what is quite nice is, so you will save it, you will publish it, you will be able to see how many people are running through your journey at any point in time. So it is quite a nice way to see how effective are the different channels that I have put in here, or the steps, or do I maybe need to reduce my waiting times a bit? So you can monitor those in real time. And then you also have some additional functionality in that you can set up goals, which is those goal metrics that you saw under the channels, the channel analytics, which said to you, this is how many of your goals have been met. This is how the journeys are doing. You can also set goals yourself for journeys. So say, I want 20 people to have registered for this event within 2 weeks, and it will tell you then how are you doing in meeting those goals. So this is especially useful if you have a lot of things running at the same time, so that you don't have to go in and remember what we'll be trying to achieve, but you can just see at a glance in your analytics how are we doing with meeting the goals for these different journeys, and what do I need to focus on next. Okay. So the other functionality that you do have that I'm not going to delve into a lot, but I'm going to give you the basics for, is just you also have event management with Dynamics Customer Insights. It is quite a big part of it. So if I go to event planning, you'll see that it's almost an entire application on its own. And when I'm saying on its own, I don't mean it's separate. It sits right on top of everything else. It's all well integrated. You can use it together. It's just that it really is big in terms of the functionality. So we do have some clients that use the event functionality quite heavily. They have event teams that will focus on this because they have things like they have vendors for events, they have speakers, they need to book out hotel rooms and buildings for sessions and different streams for sessions. And that is what Custom Insights, Journeys, Event Management offers you. You can really handle big, like the Microsoft Inspire conference, which I think is 80 to 100,000 people a year in Vegas. That's what you can use this for. But not everybody has that need for events. So what I always advise is use what you're going to use. So it's easier to adopt and to navigate. So if you think well, we're just going to use events, like we have webinars maybe, or we have certain on-site events that happen once or twice a year, then what we do is we take the main functionality, like the events, which is the event itself, hosting all of the information about the event, the event registration forms, and then things like check-ins, and we only add them to your real-time app so that you can see your events here. And events, again, just like everything else, can go into your journeys, can go, you can add an event to a survey to ask how did we do. So it's all integrated, but it is a very large piece of functionality that you could break down if you need to, if you're not going to use it to that extent. The other good thing is, if I'm saying break it down or move it to a different site of the menu, anything that you see in here, so any functionality that you see will always be there, meaning we could hide things for you from your sitemap. We could move them around, but as you grow, you might be saying, actually, now we're having events and there's loads of speakers. We need the speaker functionality, and then eventually we need the building, and now we just need it all. So we just enable this again. So any functionality that's built in, if you're not using it, you can make it easier for the team to use the app to see just what they need to, but all of it will always be available for you to bring to the front again, okay? Lastly, let me just show you this. So if we go back to real time, I think it's just important to say, so with everything that you see here, as I said, it is configurable. So you can change what you see in terms of information, and you can export that. You can put different information in the system, whether you're using forms or you are actually using import templates if you want to. But also the information that you will see on your contacts, accounts, and leads, which is something that marketing teams work with a lot, it's also all configurable. So Microsoft will give me this out of the box, which is my basic contact information. Okay, so I have like my main first name, last name, email, address, details. So this is what it gives to you as a base so that you can capture certain contact preferences and that. But you most likely will be changing a lot of it, and you can easily add things onto this, change option sets if you want to, and change choices to be more in line with what you market with and work with every day. Okay, so that's the great thing. It's all configurable, but as I said, anything that gets taken away, you can bring to the front again when you want to use it.